update on top accolade news. The headlines: South Korea's Constitutional Court overturns impeachment of Prime Minister. Ireland's economy at risk as US set to impose tariffs. Japan accuses China of diplomatic misrepresentation. First flight of deported Venezuelan migrants arrives. In politics, South Korea's Constitutional Court overturns impeachment of Prime Minister. South Korea's Constitutional Court has reinstated Prime Minister Han Duck-seo, overturning his impeachment on Monday. The court ruled 5-1, concluding that Han's actions were not severe enough to justify removal from office, and had briefly taken over as acting president after President Yoon Suk-yeol's suspension for declaring martial law, but was impeached by the opposition for his role in the crisis. Following the ruling, Han pledged steady leadership and called for national unity amidst growing political divisions. The decision comes as the nation eagerly awaits the court verdict on President Yoon's impeachment, with protests escalating nationwide. Shifting focus to economy, Ireland's economy at risk as US set to impose tariff. Minister of Finance Pascal Donohoe has warned that the United States is highly likely to impose tariff on the EU in the coming weeks, potentially leading to the loss of up to 80,000 jobs in Ireland over the next few years. Donohoe said that the tariff, particularly a proposed 25% levy on EU goods, could impact Ireland's GDP by 2 to 4% in the medium term. He also addressed U.S. concern over Ireland's low corporate tax rate, which has attracted many American multinational companies, stressing that these businesses benefit both Ireland and the U.S. Despite ongoing negotiations, Donohoe indicated that tariff would likely be implemented by early April. Moving to international relations, Japan accuses China of diplomatic misrepresentation. Tensions between Japan and China flared on Monday after Japan accused Beijing of misrepresenting a statement from high-level talks over the weekend. During discussion aimed at improving the ties between the two nations, China claimed that Japanese Prime Minister expressed respect for China's position, a claim Japan denied. Japan's government protested, demanding the Chinese side retract the inaccurate statement. The talks in Tokyo, which also included South Korea, was seen as a crucial step in addressing global issues like North Korea's missile activities and U.S. trade tariffs. Despite the diplomatic spat, both sides reaffirmed their commitment to future cooperation. Still in international relations, first flight of deported Venezuelan migrants arrives. The first flight carrying Venezuelan migrants deported from the United States landed in Caracas early Monday, marking the resumption of repatriation flights between the two countries. Nearly 200 deportees arrived after a deal was reached, ending a temporary halt caused by tensions over U.S. sanctions on Venezuela. Video footage showed some deportees celebrating, while others prayed as they disembarked. The flight is part of the U.S. government's ongoing efforts to address illegal immigration. Venezuela's National Assembly president vowed to continue repatriation, stating that migration is not a crime, and call for the return of all Venezuelans detained abroad. You are watching the Global News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. Still in international relations, U.S. delegation kicked off high-stakes ceasefire talks with Russia in Riyadh. A crucial meeting between U.S. and Russian negotiators has begun in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, led by Steve Witkoff. The talks aim at pushing for a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine come after positive discussions between a U.S. delegation and Ukraine's defense minister. However, tensions remain high, with Russia demanding that Ukraine not use any ceasefire to reorganize its forces and reaffirming its opposition to NATO membership for Ukraine. Witkoff, whose recent comments on Russia's territorial claims have raised concerns, is at the center of these negotiations as the U.S. seeks to seek a path to peaceful resolution despite a wide gap in expectation between the involved parties. In conflict, Israeli airstrike targets NASSER hospital in Gaza. An airstrike hit NASSER Hospital in Khan Yunis on Sunday, killing at least 2 people and injuring several medical staff. The attack sparked a massive fire, knocking out the hospital's surgical units and forcing the evacuation of patients. Israel's military claimed it targeted a key Hamas figure at the hospital, while Hamas confirmed a senior member was killed in the strike. This assault is part of Israel's renewed offensive on Gaza, which has claimed over 670 lives and wounded more than 1,200 people, most of them civilians. The attack has drawn widespread condemnation for its impact on innocent lives and medical facilities. Moving to entertainment, NEWJEANS announced break from activities. South Korean K-pop group NEWJEANS is stepping back from all activities after a court ruling in their ongoing dispute with their record label.
Right now, our hearts are a little bit worn out and it feels a bit too hard to just keep going at this pace, but that doesn't mean we're going to give up, and we're going to keep going. And with this decision we've made, we're respecting the court's decision, and for now it's just us taking a step back to pause, take a breath and gather our hearts and ourselves before moving forward again.
The ruling prevents them from organizing appearances or releasing music during the legal battle. NEWJEANS had previously rebranded as NJZ, and despite the court's decision, they perform under this new name in Hong Kong. The group has accused the record label of mistreatment, citing issues of the mentors removal and allegation of workplace harassment. In their final performance, they explained their decision, saying it was to protect their values and come back stronger. NEWJEANS loyal fans continue to back them as they seek resolution and future independence. Now in sports, Oscar PIASTRI secures third F1 victory in Chinese Grand Prix. McLaren's Oscar PIASTRI's triumph at the Chinese Grand Prix, finishing almost 10 seconds ahead of teammates Lando Norris for a dominant 1-2 finish for the team. The Australian's third career win comes after a flawless performance that saw him control the race from pole. Despite brake issues, Norris battled to second ahead of the Mercedes' George Russell. However, the race took a dramatic turn when Lewis Hamilton and 2 others were disqualified due to technical infringements. Tributes were also paid to Eddie Jordan after his passing earlier this week. That concludes our global news updates for today. Stay tuned for more global news and developments. Thanks for joining us. I am Ojorumi Okocha. Connect and engage with us on all our social media handles. Do have a wonderful day.